to a circle, around and further, deeper into the center, like a star collapsing, moving into a black hole, so slow, and then, everywhere, in every moment I become lost in your control. This spot is best, hot, hot. I raise my mouth, you rest your lips between my breasts. We burn through the skies, we burn through all eyes. Our hands find a fire, there's nothing we miss. After we came and the whiskey was gone, and the morning revealed, we dressed in fish scales and returned to the sea. As the gulls picked our song and the dawn was revealed, and we rocked, how we rocked, until we were free. He loved me in Paris with the curtain open, while my fingernails dried above my head, not to smear the summer gloss. He read my palms for free and told me my life was short stories so far. He asked me to leave the student hotel and really see Paris. Sweeping past the fate line, he promised me a romance that would never end. Big cups of cafe au lait in bed, and a novel for the experience. We sipped wine in the early light and listened to Americans whispering in English. You didn't understand what they were saying, but I did. They were talking about the end of summer, the beginning of the next semester. The end of romance hit me in the heart as he lifted my fingers and kissed them and let me know and said, if you want a novel, stay. If you want a poem, go. You said you had the best sex with me. Of course you did. I wanted you to. I loved rock and roll men. I loved their cool, silent talk. I loved the way they answered a challenge with a better riff. The way they made me want to run away from home, get into trouble, but not be blamed. The way they needed a woman so much, they wrote about it for everyone to hear. Then they kept it a secret from themselves. When they needed a woman, she was everything, mostly mother, but also a queen. I loved rock and roll men. I used to dream about Mick Jagger. One day I got to know him and said no. I have witnesses. Girlfriends followed us to his limousine till I got out, and he pouted because I didn't want to sleep with him and be like everyone else. I wanted to be special, and he said I was, and I said I know. And stood in the rain rather than be with a stranger with a well-known name. That's when I knew I loved rock and roll more than I loved fame. Sam Shepard came into my bedroom wearing his hat and boots. He waited in the doorway while I played another song from the 70s, when singers sang their own songs. Shit, I said, Sam, you look good. And he said, I should. I'm making movies, I'm writing and getting lots of money for it. I live with an Academy Award nominee, I play cards all night, I wear this hat in New York City. No one thinks it's bull, and I'm still humble. What about you? I told him that I was practicing to be in a Western, and then I put on lipstick. He liked the color. It was pale, and it made the conversation about the absolute seem more intense. We talked about the absolute best taste we ever ate and the absolute worst weather in years. We got close. We got real friendly. He asked me if I would have his baby, and I said I didn't think that was such a good idea, because I would know he wouldn't stick around. He scratched his head and sort of swayed his long limbs about and gave longest kiss for understanding him. After he left, I knew the real reason why Sam Shepard and I couldn't make it. I have lies to write that keep us apart. The last time it mattered, he told me he was sick and tired of my fucking poetic soul. When it wasn't poetry that made me love him, but need. That made me put up with him when I came home from rehearsing a play about a feudal war with someone who looked like the guy in my bed, waiting for a battle, but I couldn't without a cue, so I gave him one. "Hi," I said, and he said, "Why?" And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Why not?" So I said, "I guess you're right." But he argued that I was wrong. It didn't matter who was, because when someone wants to leave, it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. Someone wants to leave. And that's the action. Although he had some great lines, and all these years later I remember what he said more than what happened, because nothing really happened. He wanted me, he fell in love, he fell out of love, and I followed. That's how it was for me back then. I followed. Not just his love, but his habits, late nights, late mornings, lots of sex, lots of bottles. Whatever he did had action, like the night he was trying to get me to throw him out. He walked around the room with his arms up, showing the size of his discomfort, raising his voice so I was sure to hear everything, even the echoes of his past wars, till I told him to leave. I even walked him out. It was cleaner that way, better than begging him to stay, which is what I really wanted to do today. You can do that when you follow. But instead I led him towards his car, and he tried to kiss me. He was into big scenes, especially final ones. And this was one of the best. Only the music was missing. But I could add that later, when I was alone. I could find the perfect song to cry to. But at that moment, I pushed him away. I didn't want to end with love in my mouth, whatever was left of it. So the aftermath filled the air, which I took in, and I carried around and around for years, until I could put it in this poem that will once again save my life. I get to the song, to lay down the line. Even if it took this long, I get to settle the unkindest cut of all. I get the last word. I get the final phrase. I get to hold forth. I get to say, this fucking poetic soul is too good for your fucking empty heart. And then I met him, you know, the one you waited for all your life, and he has a wife. And I felt for him and his tormented soul, and we shared the struggle and the joy, and I ached for love, and I prayed long distance, a dream of a happy home, and I wanted a child and great work, great love. I really wanted it all. He left his wife, and we got a place and lived together, and he asked me to wait. He asked me to wait to have a baby. He asked me to wait to feel secure and safe. He asked me to wait to have it all. But I wanted more. Determined to have it all. When he swirled into shame and I into pain, as I came to the bottom of my life and nearly died, trying to have it all. What every girl should know about married men. Once you've been with one of them, you've been with them all. Sometimes it was like being trapped in an elevator. Sometimes it was July. Sometimes like Alma to Mahler, like Chopin to Sand. I found myself in love, finding myself alone. losing you. I found myself losing myself to you, losing yourself too. Sometimes I was just lost. Sometimes I was so lost I was you. And sometimes you were so lost you were finding me. Sometimes you were just lost. Sometimes you were just lost, looking to find a way to be yourself. You got lost in me. Until you saw who you were by how I was feeling. And I was positively lost, finding myself, losing you. I was lost. And I was lost until I found myself lost. I found myself lost. And found me.
Where I ran from left to right, opposite way, I rolled into bed. Opposite the wall, opposite the window, opposite the mirror. The view is a window below a mirror. We looking smoky, looking puffy, looking dry. Last night I drank too much. It got me to bed. It got me to sleep. It got me to face the opposite way. I rolled over and returned. No one's in the way. Sometimes things get in my way. This morning, no bottle in my bed, no phone, no books, no remote control. No plate with crusts or crumbs. Nothing to stop me from rolling over and over. Before this, I bumped into my mother. He'd scoop me up. We'd make spoons. He'd say,
spoons left.
Spoons left.
Spoons right.
Spoons right.
Around.
Take turns protecting each other's back against attack. Now, I roll to keep moving. I can't get hurt that way. I can't get caught. Sometimes in the middle of the night, I feel my books, my pens, my plates, my phone crash to the floor. That's when I listen most. When I hear my life hit the ground. I have to think, who's there? Where am I? My heart pounds. I turn to the window. The window in the mirror. Opposite the window. Facing the wall. Facing.